This is Li Chang. If there's one man in China right now that you don't want to be, it is him. And here's the reason why. Now, he's the premier of the government and he's tasked with overseeing the Chinese economy. Well, his predecessor, Li Keqiang, died in a swimming heart attack. And his power has just been stripped completely. Being a hollow figurehead might explain why he is all smiles and bowing to Xi in the latest video. Well, I guess maybe he doesn't want to end up in the gulag or worse, end up in a swimming accident. This is because Xi Jinping just announced a 30-year tradition has just been cancelled. Premiers will not be holding a press conference following their annual legislative sessions. Meanwhile, Chinese internet censors are working overtime to ensure that during this time, sensitive phrases are not allowed to appear online. So let's talk about all that. Welcome to China Insider. I'm David Zhang. Once a year, press actually gets a chance to ask the second in command some questions, and this is a rare opportunity. Well, it was until recently everybody thought that at least this is something that can continue. Well, that's no more. Xi Jinping just said we're going to cancel it. Now, we know that asking leadership a question is already a rare opportunity inside the Chinese Communist Party and in China. Unlike the White House daily briefings, you don't get to ask the administration some questions. And so even if these questions were pre-prepared and screened and prepared in advance for answers, it was still a chance where you could get something, organic or something, a slip off the tongue or something like that. China is increasingly a police censorship state as well. It's just operating in the dark and nobody knows exactly what's happening there anymore. And, everybody in the comments always says, oh, David, China is not a communist country. It's a state capitalistic country. Or look at what they're doing right now. They're literally going back to the 60s, where it was like just fully trying to realize communism in China. And that's where they are. And this is taking shape right in front of you. They're taking every step backwards. China's basically abandoning all the characteristics of the reform and opening up for the past 40 years in favor of national security. And with it, the role of an economic leader in the premier is no longer needed. To be fair, to the, I guess you would say, the large extent of what the press conference would be about was just to put on a show, right? To pretend like to the international community that China has some level of openness. But it's not really about that. But still, that was sort of a tradition, so to speak, in that every year you can at least have a window of opportunity. Maybe something that's not scripted will get through. Sometimes things do get said. For example, the former premier Li Keqiang, he said that 600 million Chinese people still lived on 1,000 yuan a month. And so that's a really low living expense and wage. And that alone shocked the world, thinking for, 40 years you had this reform and opening up, and yet 600 million, according to the number 2 in China, still live on the poverty line. Now, of course, this is not beneficial for China trying to build or rebuild its image of this nice country and trying to reintegrate itself into the global economy and so on. And is also, right, canceling the press conference is going to trigger a lot of speculations about what the heck is happening next in China. So Xi Jinping's way of ensuring that nobody badmouths the economy is to say that nobody gets to talk about it. Everybody shuts up. And the premier is traditionally the role in the CCP that oversees the economic development, whereas the general secretary is the one for the political side of things. And so silencing him is basically saying that, well, the part of the government that oversees the operation of the country, you guys don't get to decide what the heck is going on here. I get to decide everything. For a while, things were divided, and that was until Xi Jinping's third term, which he basically created this extra task force to oversee the economy, headed by a deputy-level leadership person named He Lifeng, to overreach the power of Li Qiang. And so they really just robbed the power away from Premier Li, and that was about 2 years ago. But the latest action seems to be a stamp of death. You know how for many months they've been trying to revive the economy, right? They're saying that they're willing to work with the private sector, work with foreign investors. They're trying to welcome people back to China. But this one move, you basically told everybody that actually we weren't really being authentic about our request. We were just playing. But of course, all of that is not going to work because the bigger picture in the CCP's mind is that the security of the country is always going to outweigh the economic side of things, just simply because the country is so unstable and they have to ensure national security. And that's, again, it's because of Xi Jinping. Of course, now that it's gone, this minimization of the premiership, you really have two reasons or two messages that it's being sent, right? The first is saying that, well, the economy is so bad, nobody gets to talk about it. because there's simply no words to express how bad it is. So anytime if I'm trying to go public with what I'm about to tell you, it's just going to make it worse, right? At least in the public opinion and the narrative side of things. So I might as well just say that, well, we're just going to stop publishing things or stop doing press conferences. Like the youth unemployment data, they just stopped publishing it for a few months just because. And that's just how ridiculous the CCP really is. Also, stopping these press conferences, it's to avoid another one of those Li Keqiang moments where he just blurs out that 600 million people live on the poverty line in China. That's not a good look for the CCP right now. And the second message, or the reason that they could be sending, is to say that, again, Li Keqiang is no longer somebody that has actual power. Even him being number 2, it doesn't matter, right? Everybody is a servant to Xi Jinping, and it fits the Stalinization of the current, really, the political environment in China, as you can see right before our eyes. And before we continue, just a shout out to my long-term partnership with Blueberry Creative. Today I want to introduce you to their $199 tea set made with the high-quality purple clay, which is something that all tea drinkers love to have, especially in Asian tea, to be brewing your best quality tea leaves in this purple clay teapot. The reason is, after you continuously use this pot, it will actually take up the flavor of the tea. And it gets to the point where sometimes you just add hot water in and you still get the beautiful flavors of the different tea that you put it in. Now, it's considered a high quality set of tea set, actually for teapots and for brewing, and it's widely loved. So this one, it's authentically made from Taiwan. You'll even get a certificate with it. So it's a great gift if you want to, give it to somebody for their birthday, or if you enjoy tea yourself, and you can definitely want to check out something like this to add to your tea drinking experience. I'll be leaving all the links in the description so you can check it out. All right, back to the video. And this video really is the perfect video for showing you what exactly is happening in Beijing. Just high-level officials getting carried out of meetings like it was the Cold War with Stalin. So this really marks the end of the reform and opening up as we know it. China is no longer opening its doors. It's slowly, well, actually, I would just say pretty fast, right? Closing its doors to the public, to the investments, and to the idea of the outside. And it's going back to Mao. Now, Xi Jinping is probably going to take something like 80% of Mao, because simply today you have people, generations of people in China who have experienced reform and opening up. They simply cannot give up the materialistic side of things or the wealth. So it's very hard for people to do that. And you've seen what happens when they're pushed to the brink, right? Like the white paper protest, all these different protests happening in China. So there could still be, I guess you say, reasons to backfire for Xi. But in reality, that's the path he's walking on. He's backwalking or backstepping. He's basically marching backwards to take what was essentially a really good part of the economy and just destroyed it. And now he thinks that the only way to go back and restore that is to be even more draconian, to be even more oppressive. Now, despite the Stalinization, political humors, they're still funny, right? So we're going to go over basically what's been happening during this period in which they have their annual meeting. It's the Chinese internet censors. They're working overtime to make sure that anything that's deemed offensive to Xi and to the CCP is 100% cleared off from the internet space and search engine. Now, keywords, some of these, right, they're tied to, for example, Xi Jinping's name, or just phrases in combination that get you censored. So if you just do it by itself, it's fine. But if you add the extra words for the combination, then that's what triggers the search engine to think that you're trying to write something or post something bad. So here's the example, okay? So of course, we know the classical combination, 89 plus 64, which is 1989, June 4th, which means the Tiananmen Square massacre. So anything related to that in different versions, right? You could write the words, or you could spell the letters or the numbers, whatever it is. That combination doesn't work. Some of the other ones, like Trump, is also a word that's censored. Now, this is because Trump is being used as an insinuation for Xi Jinping, because when people say that they're bashing Trump online, they're actually bashing Xi Jinping. And so that's also banned. Now, there's another term called People's Assembly. So in China's rubber stamp legislature, it's called People's National Congress, right? And you have these representatives. Supposedly, they're elected representatives of the people, kind of like how the US House of Representatives works. But these are not elected at all. They're actually just chosen in backdoor negotiations, just whoever is more, pro-CCP. Anyways, so there are certain phrase combinations, for example, like what is the meaning of a people's representative, or what does the People's Assembly do? These type of words, they're just simple questions. But if you actually understand the meaning behind it, it's really making fun of like, why do you even have this role type of thing, right? So that phrase is also banned. There's actually this famous lady, and I covered this already, but I'll play the video again. She's the oldest at the time she was alive to be chosen for the people's representative. And here's what she had to say.
您就是在平常有跟选民有这个交流吗？就是选举的时候有跟选民有交流吗？
我没有，我们这是靠民主选举的，你交流就不合适，你不选你就不要去找人。
So, I mean, clearly, if you're not communicating with the voters, you're not elected. But I guess that's democracy, and the definition of the CCP is just twisted. Now, Xi Jinping's name, of course, plus different combination is also banned during this time. For example, if you say Xi Jinping has a dragon smile, that's banned, right? It's praising Xi. Or if you say that Xi Jinping plus say it's guaranteed to fail, something along those lines, it's also banned. Or if you just say Xi Jinping plus something like freedom of speech, it's also banned. So here's the irony, right? That's like one of the biggest Streisand effect moment ever because so first you're not supposed to praise Xi Jinping because the censors think that you're trying to insinuate actually, in secret you're bashing him, or you can't openly criticize him again because you're openly criticizing him, or you can't even say anything along the lines of like say freedom of something because clearly you can't do any of that in China. So it's a big old Streisand effect in the making because when you're tweeting something out or you're posting something online in China, you may not actually know what you posted is sensitive, but then it gets deleted. Then you're left really wondering what the heck just happened? Like, what did I actually say that was offensive? Then it's going to prompt you to go search for that. And that's really, that Streisand effect. And China is just one giant walking Streisand effect. And so these people are hard at work censoring every single politically sensitive phrases, and they're working overtime because all the terms are so broad in scope. At some point, you will never actually understand what you said is actually going to get censored or not. Nevertheless, you'll be left wondering what the heck just happened. Well, sir, everything is sensitive in China. All right, that's it today for the episode on how China basically canceled one of the 30-year-old tradition because their economy is so bad. If you enjoy the content, leave a like, comment below your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, bye-bye.